All right, welcome to another edition of the Hardwood Huddle. Okay, everything is working. I am your host, the disheveled and confused Randy Zellea from backsportspage.com. And with me, as always, with me, he is the Sith leader, Lord Jedi. He is the Emperor. He's every Star Wars character except for a Wookiee. He is Billl Ingram. Bill, what's up, my friend?
Well, as always, now that baseball season is officially over for us Astros fans, we are now turning our eyes, unfortunately, to the Rockets and the NBA. Of course, now we're almost 10 games in. We're starting to get a pretty good feel for what teams are going to be. I think 10 games is the first sort of watermark. The first 5 or 6 games, so much depends on the schedule. So much depends on anomalies. But once you're 10 games in, you can start to make some real judgment calls about teams in the league.
Yeah, I think that also the one thing everyone has to remember, too, it's only 10 games. Yeah. The overreaction, the Knicks are not going to the NBA Finals. It's only 10 games, everybody. Come on, you're killing me.
A playoff team,
yeah. yeah. Like, I'm laughing at some of the storylines where, like, the Knicks are playing the best basketball we've seen them play in years. The Celtics are in disarray. Ben Simmons is staying away. Guys, we're 10 games in.
Yep.
So talk to me in February. Talk to me in February about these same stories. I get either one of two things is going to happen in Boston. Let's start right there with the Boston Celtics. The situation, closed door meeting with the players and I guess with the coaching staff. I guess they had a personnel meeting. Look, you and I said it during the season preview for the Boston Celtics. This team right now, the way it's constructed, they were a team 4 years ago that we were sitting there saying they're building a foundation for a long run. The problem is everybody caught up to them and surpassed them. So now Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, and Marcus Smart are not the 3 guys that the league is going to have to be put on notice about. Those 3 guys now are going to have to try and figure out a way that they can stay together before Brad Stevens pulls the plug and starts moving them.
Well, and that's where we are. I mean, you're what we say 4 years in, 5 years into this core, and you're struggling to play even 500 ball. Granted, it's early, blah blah blah, but still struggling out of the gate like that. In an Eastern Conference that is much improved, where some of those early losses, much like the West, the early losses count really a lot heavier down the line when you're trying to play for playoff positioning. And struggling out of the gate means you're already starting to maybe field phone calls. And that's for real, because the Celtics needed an inside presence and they got one. And it was Al Horford. He's fabulous on and off the court. And they're not better than they were.
No. And I also think that you're watching this team, and the year after they went to the NBA Eastern Conference Finals, that first year with Brad Stevens and Jason Tatum when they lost to LeBron James and the Cleveland Cavaliers, you looked at that team and you said, man, can you imagine when Kyrie Irving comes back? And it didn't work with Kyrie. And then they said, man, I can't wait to see this with Kemba Walker. And Kemba did not fit with them. I think maybe with this team of that 3, the core 3 with Tatum, Smart, and Brown, I think maybe it might be addition by subtraction. I think maybe the love affair with those 3 is over. And I think that maybe Marcus Smart might be the one who has to move, because I could tell that Tatum and Brown, they play pretty well together. But something is just off right now, and I can't put my finger on what it is. But they're not in sync, like you just said before. Schroeder is probably playing the best of anybody on the team.
The team is to lose,
Yeah, well, but what are they going to do? How are they going to fix it? That's the real question. Can this be fixed, or is it time to hit the reset button in Boston? And you have to say, well, if we're going to hit the reset button, then what's our most valuable asset? Is it Jaylen Brown? Is it Jason Tatum? It's not Marcus Smart. Marcus Smart is a 4th option. You know who would love a guy like Marcus Smart right now? The Dallas Mavericks would like to have a guy.
Yeah, no kidding. Or Jason Tatum, either one. The Mavs just need somebody who can do something alongside Luka Doncic. But You make a great point. This is the core group that's been there, and you've decided the core group isn't going to work. So the question Brad Stevens has to ask himself and answer, and it's a tough one, is Jason Tatum Batman? We had this conversation about.
We've discussed this. Is Jason Tatum Batman?
And Giannis in the playoffs said, "Hey, I'm Batman." And it looks like Batman early in this season, even though the Bucks have not had success for other reasons. But is Jason Tatum the guy? And if he's the guy, you need to move somebody out to make him the focus of the offense. If Tatum is not the guy, then you need to face that reality and make adjustments according to a new reality where he's not the star player.
My question to you, though, is on the market, what is a Jason Tatum, a Jaylen Brown, a Marcus Smart worth out there in the market right now?
I mean, you've got it. That is set. The market value is set by the market, because you look at some crazy. John Collins gets a maximum contract. John Collins?
But is John Collins a maximum player on other teams? For what he brings to the Atlanta Hawks, it's another conversation. Now, again, you're also trying to keep a guy like Trae Young happy, so he doesn't want to go over there. Because, look, teams like Atlanta, Minnesota, Orlando, Sacramento, I call them the feeding grounds for the franchise, the big franchises in the NBA.
Yeah.
So right now, if Atlanta wants to be considered a serious threat in the Eastern Conference, they have to keep their superstar happy. A guy like John Thomas, do I think he's a max player? I don't think half the league who are guys who are max players are max players. You are giving certain players, like role players, $25, $35 million extensions for 2 years. Why is that happening? But that's a whole nother story for another time.
Yeah. Well, so then that becomes it. What is he worth on the market? Jason Tatum or Marcus Smart, what are they worth on the market? It's entirely set by the market. It's entirely set by who's buying, which team at Christmas. Okay, teams are not going to start making moves right now. When we get to Christmas and teams are well below expectations, now you're going to find out what a Marcus Smart is worth. You start floating that out there. You say, "Hey, what would you give us for Marcus Smart?" And you start hearing from other teams what he's worth, and that really sets the marketplace in the NBA. Is what other team. I've had many friends in front offices around the league, and some of these trade rumors that come out are not the result of a team actually shopping someone. Team A might call Team B and say, "Hey, what would you give me for player A?" Not because they're trying to trade player A, but because they're trying to gauge his value, right? So then the trade rumor comes out, "Oh, Team A called Team B about player C, who is now on the trade market." Doesn't mean they're on the trade market. It means front office guys are asking the same question we're asking. What is Marcus Smart worth? He's only worth the biggest package you can be offered from him on the free market if you make his name available, and that may or may not be enough for Boston to trade him. But that's how NBA general managers go about gauging interest in many cases.
Okay, you're 100% right. And by the way, Marcus Smart's comments, which raised a lot of eyebrows, Jaylen Brown did address it, and this is coming from NBCSports.com. Jaylen Brown addressed Smart's comments in the meeting for the first time following the win against the Orlando Magic. Brown stated, "Obviously, in the midst of trying to win games, it's something that we probably didn't need, but we all communicate and talk to each other, so we're trying to find ways to win. I'm open to anything and everything when guys bring it to me, coaching staff. I'm always watching film and trying to be a better basketball player and find ways to make my teammates better. It felt good to get a win today." So, I think that we're now at a point where, I think we're now at a point where this is getting a little out of hand with players spouting off to the media and how these guys handle it. I know they're trying to make a point. I know that they're trying to make a point, but the worst thing you can do is make comments and have to have your teammates take the brunt of something that you said.
That's right. Because the media is going to say, "Hey, Marcus said this. What do you think about that?" And that becomes the big story.
Yeah.
And I agree with you. I think if something's going to happen behind closed doors, leave it behind closed doors. You had it behind closed doors for a reason, right? Have those discussions internally. I've thought this for years. Why would a team make it be known publicly that they're interested in trading a player? Because all you do is sabotage the success of the team and the success of the player for the immediate future until a deal is done or not done. Making those conversations public really doesn't benefit anybody.
It's true. It's really, 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 really true. I think that also we also have to look at the big picture. This is the big picture. We really, 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 really think that the Celtics have to clean this has to clean up this mess. Real quickly, Bill, we're obviously not going to be on too long tonight. Some of our time got eaten up a little bit from our technical problems. Real quick, I think that we really, really, really have to take a look at the Ben Simmons situation and sort of just like Kyrie Irving with the Nets and sort of flush it at this point.
I mean, I agree, especially when the Sixers are just fine without him. They're winning at a very nice pace, 6-2 as we're recording this. They don't need him. They don't need him in the regular season. Could you send him out for? I mean, I don't understand. This is Daryl Morey, and we've talked about this on this show. He thinks that every piece he has is worth more than what any other GM in the league would value his piece at. So Ben Simmons is a nice piece. He's not a star player. He's a cancer at this point. So a team that would acquire him is taking a gamble, right? So would he look great in Dallas? Yes. Would he look great in San Antonio? Yes. Maybe even Golden State? Yes. But those teams, any team that would acquire Ben Simmons is taking a risk that his mental lapse is going to clear and he's going to go back to being an all-star caliber player. Do you expect him to make the big play offensively when the game is on the line? No, of course not. He needs to go to a team where that's not the expectation. He's proven that's not who he's going to be. Hey, even Philly doesn't need him to be that. So the idea that we want to blame Ben Simmons for Philly's failure in the playoffs, well, why didn't Joel Embiid have the ball? Like, that doesn't make sense. So you have to be real about who he is. And Daryl Morey has to be real about the fact that he's proven to be, right now, he has cancer posted on his forehead. Cancer. So anything you're offered is with the understanding that maybe he's going to help your team on the court, but will his off the court behavior detract more than his on the court play adds? So you have to take that into account. The Sixers need him gone. It's a big distraction. You have to get rid of it. Can you get some serviceable players, some depth, some veteran type voices in the locker room? Great, then get that. But shooting for a pie in the sky deal for Ben Simmons when he's pouting and doesn't even want to show up to practice and doesn't play hard, you're just not going to get that. So make the best deal available and move on and let another team deal with Ben Simmons and whether he's going to be an all-star or whether he's going to sit and have emotional difficulties.
If you're watching us right now on YouTube or Facebook or Twitter, we're giving you a small little sample of what you get every single week on the Hardwood Huddle. This is what we're doing. We're giving everybody a little taste. Our usual schedule is we usually record Thursdays to drop the shows on Fridays. So keep an eye out on them, but we figured we'd do a little tease on social media tonight. Bill, sorry, we have to cut short because we're against the clock. We only had about a half-hour time frame tonight, so I do apologize for that with our technical difficulties. Bill, where can everybody find you?
I am on Twitter at the Rocket Guy, where I am extremely active. If I write about the NBA, it's at backsportspage.com, and when I write about anything besides the NBA, which is most of the time, it's ishmaelslegacy.com. That's my personal blog.
I'm on backsportspage.com. Excuse me. Backsportspage.com, about 45 different podcasts every single week. And again, guys, you go find us on Facebook, Back Sports Page, at Back Sports Page on Twitter. We're going to break out our social media, and we're going to start doing some different things for the Hardwood Huddle. Starting next week, I think we're also going to try and bring some guests back on. We were supposed to have the great Tracy Graven tonight. but he was a little under the weather, so he'll be
difficulty.
Yeah, so
worse than yours.
yeah, definitely. And we had some technical difficulties. We were supposed to go on around 8:30, and that sort of fell apart. So I do apologize for that. But Bill and I have been covering the NBA for a long time, and we like to go in depth and expand out on topics. That's what we do on this show. Give us a try. We definitely want to earn it. We're going to be going live on Cave Talk Radio as well, starting in a couple weeks, as well as being live in the New York metropolitan area for we're growing leaps and bounds. So I hope you guys like a little taste of us here on Facebook, on Twitter, and on YouTube. Keep following us. Follow Bill. Follow me. I'm at Randy BSP on Instagram and Twitter. For Bill Ingram, hold on one second, Bill. Don't go away. For Bill Ingram, I'm Randy Zellea. We'll see you at our normal time slot. Watch for first off, go to Spotify. I'm sorry, I should have said this before, and I apologize. Go to Spotify and listen to our previous work. We have some great interviews up that we did with Shane Battier, Dominic Wilkins, Lenny Wilkins. We have some great interviews. Derek Harper, Orlando Blackman, Mark Followell. We've had some really good ones. Check it out. Give us a shot. Tell your friends about us. It's great. Tell a stormtrooper. It's amazing. For Bill Ingram, I'm Randy Zellea. We'll see you next time here on the Hardwood Huddle.